Hare Krishna. So, this morning we discussed up to Sarga aspect. Sarga means? Okay, once again I go back. Bhagavatam is a Mahapuran. Mahapuran. So Mahapuran, what are the symptoms of a Mahapuran? The 10. How many symptoms are there? 10. Okay. And the first one is Sarga or creation. Every Puran will deal with at least this aspect. Creation, sub-creation. They may not go onto the Ashraya aspect or Samam Bonam, as Prabhupada translated that. Ashraya or the supreme shelter. Who is the supreme shelter? Who is the shelter of everyone? So other Puranas may lead up to Brahma or Shiva, but are they the ultimate shelter? Who is the ultimate shelter? Krishna. And Bhagavatam is revealing that. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam is the Mahapuran. But these aspects, creation, sub-creation, etc., they'll be there in all the Puranas. And they all give the same description. So creation started with Vishnu. Krishna expanded himself as Vishnu. This Vishnu aspect is in relation to material creation. Like Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu and Shirodakshai Vishnu. Then it goes to, from Garbhodakshai Vishnu comes out Brahma. Brahma comes directly from Garbhodakshai Vishnu. He came from Brahma's navel and he was situated in a lotus that came from there. And Brahma, mind you, is the first created being. He is the first created being. There was nobody else. And Brahma's situation was something like he woke up one fine morning and he found himself sitting on a lotus and he didn't have any recollection of his past. Did you ever experience something like that? Or you can well imagine what will be the situation like. You wake up at some place where you don't know anything and you don't even know who you are, where you came from. And that is everybody's situation in the material nature. When you are born, do we know who we are, where you came from? When you are born, we are totally in ignorance, but that was not the case with Brahma. Brahma woke up, he was fully conscious. And he began to wonder, my God, where I am? What is this? All he saw is that there is a vast tract of water and those waves, huge waves, are splashing against themselves. And he himself is sitting on a lotus and there is nothing around. So then Brahma thought that maybe if I climb down this lotus, then I'll find out where I came from. And Brahma climbed down the stem of the lotus for 1,000 years. He couldn't reach the bottom. Bhagavatam actually describes that he came very close to the bottom, but still he could not see the Lord. That is the situation. We can go very close to the Lord, but if we don't have the proper perception, if we don't have the proper eyes to see, we won't be able to see Him. So Brahma came very close to the Lord, but still he couldn't see Him. Because with our material eyes, we cannot see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then finally Brahma became disappointed and he climbed up the lotus again and sat on the lotus. And then he heard the sound of the waves of Garbha ocean splashing against each other. When the waves splash against each other, what kind of sound they make? Anyway, the sound that Brahma heard was tapaha, tapaha, tapaha. And then Brahma was inspired by the Lord from within. And the sounds actually indicated him, Brahma, withdraw your senses, project your consciousness internally. Don't, all this while, through your external endeavor, you came to this dead end. You couldn't find what you wanted to know. So go within. When external endeavor fails, then what option are we left with? Go to the other direction. So Brahma then withdrew his senses and projected his consciousness internally. And then he heard a beautiful sound. The sound of Krishna's flute. But the sound of the flute indicated Brahma. Sounded like Om, Om, Om. So Brahma went deeper within, following the sound. And following the sound, he heard the Gayatri mantra. The Lord actually gave the Gayatri to Brahma from within. Tene Brahmarhida Adikavaye Muihanti Jatsuraya. This transcendental sound was directing Brahma, which manifested within his heart. Tene Brahmarhida. So that knowledge was revealed in the heart of Brahma. So upon receiving this Gayatri, Brahma meditated upon that Gayatri. And as a result of that, the Vedas became manifest. Brahma didn't study the Vedas in a book. Vedas, the transcendental knowledge, was revealed in the heart of Brahma. And that is how the transcendental knowledge is revealed. This external endeavor only a practice to develop confidence and faith in this process. But ultimate revelation will take place from within. That's why we sing every day. Dibba Gyan Hriday Prakashita. The transcendental knowledge is revealed in the heart. So that's what happened with Brahma. The transcendental knowledge by the mercy of the Lord was revealed in the heart. And then Brahma understood who he was, where he came from. Not only that, what is Brahma's revelation? Chintamani Prakarasarmasu Kalpa Vriksha Lakshavriteshu Surabhira Vipalayantam. Brahma saw a beautiful world that is made of Chintamani, touchstones. And it's a forest, but what kind of forest? The forest of desire trees. Kalpa Vriksha, Laksha Briteshu. And there are millions of cows, Surabhir Abhipalayantam. And then he saw Lakshmis, many, many Lakshmis. Who are those Lakshmis? These cowherd damsels, Brajagopis. Lakshmi Shahasra Sata Sambrama Sempimala. That is Brahma's revelation in the heart. Then he saw that Supreme Personality of God. Venum Kanantam Aravinda Dalayatакшam Barhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam. That beautiful form. And the complexion is like monsoon cloud. Barhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandharva Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobha. form is so beautiful that millions of cupids are enchanted by that form. One cupid enchants the whole universe. And millions of cupids are enchanted by the beauty of that personality. And this way Brahma saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead this way. This is how the Brahma saw the spiritual sky. And in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahma saw everybody, everything. He saw the relationship with different incarnations, Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishtan. Nana Avatara Makorod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramahupumanja. That is the perception of Brahma. He is the source of all incarnations. He saw how Lord Shiva is his expansion. He saw what's the relationship with Ganesh with him. He saw the relationship of Brahma himself with him. He saw different Vishnus. He saw the relationship with Maya, with that personality. So this is how the transcendental knowledge is revealed in the heart. Therefore it's a journey inwardly. It's an inward journey. And externally what do? We preach. Whatever we understood, we give it to others. By doing that, we enrich ourselves internally. We convince ourselves internally. The more we go that way, the more we'll be able to reach on the other way. It's something like a arrow or a catapult. The catapult, what you do? The more you pull in this way, the further it will go. Similarly, the more we distribute this knowledge, the more we'll enrich ourselves internally. That is why preaching is so important. Whatever you understood, with full conviction, just go out and give it to them. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sankirtan, which is, Sankirtan actually means preaching, distribution of this knowledge. The more we will give, the more we will get. So now Brahma understood what's his business. Brahma realized his business is to make the world Krishna conscious. Preaching means make this world Krishna conscious. Make others Krishna conscious. In this material nature, we can see even Brahma was born in ignorance. Although he came directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was in ignorance. He had to endeavor to get this knowledge. Of course, Brahma was fortunate that he received the knowledge directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But at the same time, consider the endeavor that Brahma made. He went all the way down to that lotus, came close to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And after all that endeavor, he realized, okay, this is not going to work. This external endeavor is not going to work. So that means when we give up the endeavor, then what happens? Giving up endeavors means surrender. So without surrendering, there is no way we can understand this transcendental knowledge. And that's why this process is called the process of Sharanagati or surrender. So this is how Brahma received the knowledge, and Brahma realized the goal of life. Goal of life is now the living entities are coming here into this material nature, how to properly arrange that responsibility. Brahma realizes it's a massive task, he can't do it by himself. But Brahma was so powerful that from his mind he could create children. Meaning Brahma could, from his mind, he could give living entities, different souls, a material body. And from his mind, he created 4 children. Brahma didn't have anybody to assist him in this process of procreation. Directly from his mind, he created. The first 4 children are 4 Kumars. Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, and Sanat Kumar. So Brahma told them, my boys, you have to help me in my mission. They said, forgive us, please. We are not going to get involved in these material activities. We don't want to get involved in material nature. We know what's the nature of this nature. Brahma felt anger. They are my children, they are not listening to me. But then again, Brahma realized that his anger may destroy his children. You see, the personality who can create children from his mind, can you imagine what his anger going to be like? It was going to be totally destructive. So Brahma controlled it. No, I shouldn't get angry. Still, the anger was there and it came out from between his eyebrows. And that was Rudra, or Shiva's appearance in this material nature. And then he had 10 children from his mind. Those 10 children were 9 Prajapatis, and the youngest one was Narad. Prajapatis means progenitors. Now these individuals are going to help Brahma in his business of creation. Rudra's business is not creation, his business is destruction. So Brahma said, control your senses and remain peaceful. Only when the time comes, then you can become active, otherwise just remain inactive. And that's why we see Lord Shiva is always in a very peaceful situation, meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then came these 10 children, out of them 9 got involved in the procreation. They are the 9 Prajapatis, Pulasta, Pulaha, Kratu, Angira, Marichi are 3, Vashishta, Bhrigu and Dakshin. And the youngest one is Narad. So Narad was like his elder brothers. He or his businesses, his attitude was, I don't want to get involved. But the youngest child, Brahma didn't mind. Okay, let him be. But one day something very wonderful happened. Narad found that Brahma was in a trance. And his body was trembling softly. Tears were streaming down his eyes. And hairs were standing on end in his body. So seeing that, Narad wondered, what's happening? Upon whom my father is meditating. And meditating upon him, he is experiencing such joy. So when Brahma came out of his trance, Narad asked him, who was that personality upon whom, thinking upon him, you experience such joy? I used to think that you are the Supreme, but who is superior to you, that meditating upon him you experience such delight? Then Brahma told him about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is how this line started. The knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Bhagavat Parampara. Brahma to Narad, Other sons didn't get that. They were concerned, this morning I mentioned about Karmakanda section and Jnanakanda section. The other sons got entangled with that business. How to enjoy. They were not so much into enjoyment themselves, but they were directing people how to enjoy this material nature. And then when one gets fried, then he wants to get liberated, okay. Jnanakanda, the process of liberation. Karmakanda is giving bhukti or enjoyment in the material nature, and Jnanakanda is leading to mukti or liberation from material bondage. But what Narad got is even beyond that. That was bhakti. Devotion to the Supreme Personality. So that is the ultimate point. We'll gradually come to that. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, we will see that all the anecdotes, all the happenings, all the incidents are leading to that point. Devotional service is the ultimate goal of life. When the sages of Naimisharanya asked Shuta Goswami, his answer was that none of this process of sacrifice, meditation, giving in charity, performing austerities, cannot give you devotion. That is, they cannot give the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life can be achieved only by rendering devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that devotion is hearing about the Lord, chanting the glory of the Lord, serving the Lord, associating with His devotees, and so forth. The process is simple. Other processes are very, very austere, very troublesome, but the benefit is limited. Whereas this process is very simple, but the benefit is inconceivable. Just surrender. What takes to surrender? What does it take? Surrender simply takes submission. That's about all. Like I was talking about watching the boxing bout yesterday in the TV. Like they are just fighting so badly and getting hurt so badly. But if one of them said, surrender, then all the struggle will come to an end. And now this is going on between two boxers who are kind of equal strength, more or less. But we are, in this material nature, we are struggling against someone who is million times, trillion times stronger than us. So what chance do we stand against that? And who is that? Maya. We are fighting against Maya. Daivi hesha gunamoyi, mama maya durantaya. So what chance do we have? Krishna's Maya. So it's better to say surrender. Surrender to who? Maya is bashing us because we are not surrendered to Krishna. The moment you surrender to Krishna, Maya will say, fine, okay. Now, I will lead you to Krishna. That is what Maya is there for. When you are averse to Krishna, when you are opposed to Krishna, then she's punishing us. She's beating us up mercilessly. Surrender. Her point is surrender. Surrender. And the moment we say surrender, then okay, she said okay, no more punishment. Good boys, good girls. And not only that, then she'll say, okay, come, I will take you to your ultimate goal. That is what Maya does. In this respect, Prabhupada gives an example of a policeman. to the criminals, the policemen are an object of fear. When a thief sees a policeman, and when a policeman catches a thief, what does it do? But when a peace-loving person, peaceful, honest citizen, when he sees a policeman, the policeman is a source of assurance, security. Oh, police is here, so nothing to worry about. And then when that person has to go and meet the king, or the president, or the chief prime minister, this policeman escorts him to the prime minister. So similarly, Maya, to those who are averse to Krishna, Maya is punishing us. But when one surrenders to Krishna, Maya helps him to approach Krishna. As Mahamaya, she punishes the criminals, the miscreants, and as Yogamaya, she helps the devotees to go to Krishna and become engaged in his devotional service. So, this is the situation that ultimately we get to know from Srimad Bhagavatam. And here we are seeing another condition, that the Vedas are apparently dealing with Karmakanda and Jnanakanda section. But Chaitanya Charitamrita very boldly declaring, Karmakanda and Jnanakanda sections, these are like two pots of poison. Karmakanda, Jnanakanda, kevali bishera bhanda. Bishera, vish means poison. And bishera means off poison. Bhanda means pots. Karmakanda section and Jnanakanda are two pots of poison. Amrita boliya jeva khai. Thinking that to be nectar, if somebody drinks it, Nana joni brahman kari. They travel through different species of life in this material nature. Kadorjo bhakkhan kari. Eats all kinds of abominable things. Tar janmo adhoppate jai. His life is doomed to extinction. Therefore, we have to understand which aspect of the Vedas to accept. Karmakanda and Jnanakanda is not our goal. Karmakanda and Jnanakanda, at the most, give us enjoyment in this material nature or liberation from the material bondage. But that liberation also is not proper liberation. Again, another consideration. Liberation means freedom from imprisoned condition. We think of freedom only when we are bound or only when we are imprisoned. Now from the prison house you can go out in two ways. One is you can dig a tunnel out of the prison and escape. Now is that a proper way to get out of the prison? You may get out of the prison, but the police will be after you. You won't be able to live peacefully. And when you're caught, then the prison terms are going to become even more intense. But the other way, the proper way of getting out of the prison is to first of all understand what is our crime for which we are imprisoned here. What is the cause? Denying or defying, disregarding the king. You break the law and you're put into prison. Breaking the law means defying the king's order. So our crime is that we have defied, we have disobeyed, we have disregarded the King of Kings. So the way to get out of our prison condition is to surrender to him appeal to him, "My Lord, I made a mistake. Please forgive me. I promise that I'll never do this again." And then, when the king hears that, after all, this King of Kings is sitting in our hearts. So when we appeal, the moment we appeal to him, he immediately hears. And then he immediately makes arrangement for us to get out of here. And then when we get out, by his mercy, we get an access to his palace. We are not only out of the prison, but we have the opportunity to be with him in his palace and enjoy with him like a king ourselves. And in that respect, we have a loving relationship with him. He is not only the King of Kings, that King of Kings is our Father. King of Kings is our dearmost friend, our supreme well-wisher. So when we develop our relationship with him, we can't imagine what kind of opportunities and facilities will we get. So that is how the Supreme Personality of Godhead made this arrangement. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the way. Time and time again we will see through the stories of Srimad Bhagavatam that how that point has been established. How to develop our loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now I mentioned about Brahma's creation, how it started. Brahma had 9 sons and Narad. And then he also created 2 personalities from his body. From his right hand side came out a personality called Manu, and from his left hand side came a personality called Shatarupa. So this Manu and Shatarupa are the 2 male, original male and female. They came from Brahma's body. Therefore he is Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhu is the name of Lord Brahma. You see, Sanskrit words are full of meanings. No Sanskrit word is meaningless. Everything has a profound meaning. Why he is Swayambhu? Because he appeared himself. Swayam means he himself. Bhu, became. He manifested, he became him by himself. And Swayambhuva means of Swayambhu, Brahma. Because he is Brahma's son, therefore he is Swayambhuva, Manu. So he is the first man. Now you can see the link. Manu is the first man. Therefore we are from Manu, therefore Sanskrit word is Manava. We are Manava. And from that Manava, all these words came. Man and Man and so forth. Human. So he is the first male and Shatarupa is the first female. Through them, the procreation started through the union between a man and a woman. The first couple, and from that couple, through copulation, the procreation started. Manu had 5 children, 2 sons and 3 daughters. His 2 sons are Priyavrata and Uttanapad, and his daughters are Akuti, Prashuti and Devahuti. And these sons, 2 sons, were extremely illustrious. They are the first rulers of this planet. So Priyavrata ruled. So did his brother Uttanapad, also a king. So I'll go to the Uttanipad's line now. Later on probably we'll discuss about different lines. See, these stories are not just appearing from nowhere out of somebody's imagination. There is a specific chronological and, what's the word, that family line is there. The descending line is there. So we get to know who is who, all these characters. Whereas in a fiction, we may get to know the name of the father, at the most grandfather, but nothing beyond that. Like who is Superman's grandfather? We may know, I mean, they may mention about his father, or who is Spider-Man's. But here, all these personalities have their genealogical table. Brahma's son is Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhuva Manu's son, Priyavrata and Uttanapad. And Uttanapad had two wives, Suniti and Suruchi. Uttanapad becomes very attracted to his younger wife, Suruchi. And as a result of that, his elder wife was neglected. And so was her son. Her son was Dhruva. And since the king was so attached to his younger wife, sometimes it happens, the younger wife being more beautiful, sometimes the husband becomes more attracted to the younger wife. Like that was also the case with Dasarath. He was extremely attached to his younger wife, youngest wife rather, out of three, Kaikeyi. So anyway, so here, because he was neglectful of his elder wife, her son also was neglected, Dhruva. He was only a little boy, 6-year-old at that time. And one day he saw that his father was sitting on the throne and his younger brother, Uttam, was sitting on his lap. So like a child, he also wanted to sit on his lap, on his father's lap. It's a natural desire of a child. But Suruchi was there and she was very insulting. He said, look, you did not perform enough austerities to be born as my child. Therefore you don't have any right to sit on your father's lap, which would indicate become the successor to the throne. So that little boy became so hurt, being insulted in this way. Crying, he went to his mother and said, this is how she treated me. So Suniti was a very extremely pious, good-hearted person. So she started to advise, yes, that is true. Like, you are not fortunate enough. But the Lord can fulfill anybody's desire. So Dhruva asked, where can I find the Lord? So well, when somebody wants to find him, they go to the forest. So Dhruva just went to the forest. A 6-year-old boy left home, went to the forest, searching for Hari, searching for Krishna. And he was inquiring, whoever he was meeting in the forest, who do you get? Wild animals. And he was asking these animals, are you Hari? Are you Hari? And this is also another thing, when the heart is pure, then even the animals do not harm that person. Because the Lord is situated in the heart of the animals also. So when he sees that someone is sincerely searching for him, he makes even the animals don't harm them. So Narad Muni took compassion upon Dhruva. He came to him and he instructed Dhruva, go to Madhuban, a forest called Madhuban. What is that? Madhuban is one of the 12 forests of Vrindavan on the bank of Jamuna. Instructed him to go to Madhuban. And he told him that you perform austerities there, that is, purify yourself, take bath 3 times in the river, Jamuna, and you meditate upon the Lord, chanting this mantra. So Narad Muni gave him the mantra. So Dhruva immediately went to Madhuban. And he started to follow Narad Muni's advice and started to practice the process of devotion. Narad Muni actually gave him the process of devotion based on Ashtanga Yoga in order to receive the proper benefit out of it. Ashtanga Yoga by itself is not enough. Ashtanga Yoga is actually a means to fix the mind to meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Dhruva, as he developed his attachment to the Lord, he started to become detached from material activities. The first month, he just took some dry leaves every 3 days. Then he stopped taking food also. He was taking just some water. Then he stopped taking water also. He was breathing only once in 12 days. First he was taking leaves once in 3 days. Then he was taking water once in 6 days. Then he was taking, the leaves every 6 days, water every 3 days, and breathing every 12 days. And meditating upon the mantra. So his consciousness was so absorbed in thinking about the Lord and chanting His holy name through the mantra that he lost his external needs and affinities. There was no need to eat, there was no need to drink, there was no need to breathe. And then the demigods were in distress, seeing this severe austerity of Dhruva. So they appealed to the Lord, please do something about it. Because of his austerity, there is so much heat that has been generated that we can't stay in the heavenly planets. So then the Lord came. And Narad Muni told how to meditate upon the Lord in the heart. And Dhruva was seeing the Lord in the heart. And then when he opened his eyes, he found the Lord, the same personality standing in front of him. There was no difference between the personality he was seeing in his heart and the personality that was standing in front of him. Now in the meantime, Narad Muni went and told his Dhruva, after the father, Uttanipad, got to know that his son, 6-year-old son, left home and went to the forest. He became extremely hurt. He started to curse himself, lamenting. What a henpecked person I have become. Due to my attachment to my wife, I neglected and insulted my little son and he left home. So then, when he was lamenting in this way, when he was in such anxiety, Narad Muni came to him and assured him, don't worry, your son is doing well, there is no harm, he'll come back soon. So when Dhruva saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, its beautiful form, naturally his heart just melted seeing the sight of the Lord. He wanted to express his feelings, but he could not, because he was just a little child. He didn't know how to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then the Lord, with his conch shell, touched his forehead. And then Dhruva started to glorify the Lord. So one of the most beautiful descriptions and glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then Dhruva, then the Lord told him, Dhruva, go home, and for 36 years he'll become the ruler of the kingdom. Dhruva said, I just came to you, I just started to search for you, receive your mercy, simply to get a kingdom. But what I got now, compared to that ruling over a kingdom seems like a broken piece of glass when you got a bag full of diamonds. And the Lord said, no, Dhruva, just do that. Rule over your kingdom for 36,000 years. And in course of time, you'll get a position, you'll come to my abode, which is even beyond your grandfather's kingdom, great-grandfather's kingdom, that is Brahma's kingdom, which is far beyond this material nature. So Dhruva went home, and in course of time, his father retired, made Dhruva the king of the kingdom. And Dhruva ruled for 36,000 years. In the meantime, many things happened. One of the important things that happened is when Dhruva went to hunt, Dhruva's brother, Uttam, went to hunt in the forest, he was surrounded by the Jakshas and he was killed in a battle. When the news reached Dhruva Maharaj, he just came with his army and attacked the Jakshas. And he decided to wipe out all the Jakshas from the surface of this universe. And seeing the condition, that his destructive condition, like millions of Jakshas were killed, you can see how powerful he was. So Swayambhuva Manu himself came and pacified him and told him, look, Dhruva, do not unnecessarily kill these Jakshas. They all did not kill your brother. And in this material nature, our staying and going is a matter of our destiny. It is happening just by the divine arrangement of the Lord, based on our karma and the laws of material nature or guna. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha. So don't become so upset. So stop fighting. And the king of the Jakshas is Kuvera. Kuvera at that time came to bless Dhruva. He was prepared to award anything, any amount of wealth. But what is the use of that wealth to a personality who has got the greatest of all wealth, the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Dhruva is not interested. So then Kuvera blessed him with long life and ultimate success of his goal. Then Dhruva retired from his kingdom and he went to the Himalayas. He was spending his time in the association of saintly people there. Then one day the chariot came from the spiritual sky. Then Nanda and Sunanda, two associates of the Lord, came to escort Dhruva. And they invited Dhruva to come. And they were going to take him back to the spiritual world. Then Dhruva bade farewell to all the saintly personalities in that area, took a bath, circumambulated the chariot, and as he was about to step into the chariot, he saw death personified with folded hands, begging him, please place your lotus feet on my head. And putting his foot on the head of death, Dhruva Maharaj alighted the chariot. So death comes to the devotees also, but in a different way. Death comes not as an object of fear. Death comes to a devotee to climb onto the chariot that comes from Vaikuntha to take him. The death is seeking his blessings. So this is how Dhruva Maharaj went to Dhruva Loka, the abode of the Lord in the universe, and all the other planetary systems, sun, moon, and all the stars and planets, they circumambulate him. We see the fixed star in the sky. The polar star is the abode of Dhruva Maharaj. And all the other planets, that is fixed, and all the other planets are moving, stars and planets are moving around that. So, from that, what did you learn? Surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life, and when we do that, then everything becomes achieved. Thank you very much.